How's it going, nerds? Welcome back to Cities Skylines Nerdköping. I certainly hope you're having a good one because I'm excited to be back. You might notice that there isn't any kind of disclaimer on the screen saying, watch live, blah, 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 blah. This episode is not being recorded on the live stream. I thought it's been a little bit since the last episode, and I've done a couple of things around Nerdköping, so I thought I would do a YouTube-only episode to bring you up to speed and just say hello, because it's been a little minute, and I know a couple of people were worried that this series wasn't going to continue because of the Empire of Sin series, so I figured we'd play some Cities Skylines, I'd show you some of the things that I've done, and we'll talk about the channel a little bit, and just have a conversation the way we have done in the past with a bunch of Cities Skylines videos. This whole series has been like a trip down memory lane for me, because it's just about having fun with Cities Skylines again, so let's just do it. Let's just dive into it and have a look at what's changed. So, you might remember that Transport Tower didn't exist and that this entire area didn't exist in the last episode. Well, you would be right. It didn't. This is a project that got away from me a little bit. It's nothing too fancy. It's nothing super detailed, but I just wanted to fill up this little bit of space across the river from the old town area, and I decided that it was originally just going to be a mix of high-density residential with some offices around the side for the sake of traffic. And where these parks are in here was originally some commercial zoning. But I decided to get rid of the commercial in favor of putting in a basketball court that I've gone ahead and taken some of the extra props off of. I decided to put a small playground in there and a parking lot as well, because I thought a parking lot would kind of make sense in and around here a little bit. And I kind of like that as the middle of an area that has a bunch of people living here. I like that, you come out of your apartment building, you can go straight to the park, you can go straight to the basketball court, or you can hop up onto a path and take this walkway that goes the whole way around the quay that borders this entire space. Which is an idea that was suggested by someone in the live stream chat. It was this idea of, hey, why don't you put a path up on the top of the quay that, people can use to get around? And I really like that idea. I like that it takes, a path off of this bridge that comes over here. Also, I realize I haven't gone ahead and set the day-night cycle to not tick by. So we'll just go ahead and set time back to about 1 in the afternoon there. I might show you what nighttime looks like in a little bit. But, yeah, so the path comes off of here, it goes around, it connects out to beside the transport tower, it goes along here, it loops around really nicely through all these trees and whatnot, and this entire area is just covered in trees and nature, and I absolutely love that. This little area in here obviously has a nice path going through it. I've put some benches and some lights in there, I've put some bollards along the side of it so it didn't feel like I was completely enclosing nature. And I put a, oh god, the camera. I put a little cafe there as well. I just decided to make that area really just full of nature. That's something that was really important to me, was to make it as full of nature as I could make it, because eventually we're not going to have all this green space over here. And I do have an idea for this space that we might tackle today, where I want to bring these older European-style buildings back a bit and fill up this space with more of them. And I want to put a quay along the river on this side as well, but instead of doing a bunch of nature, I want to pave that area with cobblestones or different types of tiles or things like that, put some statues in there, and make it feel a little bit older than this development on this side over here. I like to imagine, obviously, this is a lot more modern than this side would have been, so this is going to be a little more gray. It's going to have those stones in there, and it's going to be a lot less full of nature. So this eventually is going to provide a beautiful juxtaposition against, obviously, the high-rise buildings and also the old European-style buildings on the other side of the river. But that's not the only thing that I've changed since that last episode went up. I have gone ahead and I've added a roundabout to this road that now comes into the city down here. And honestly, that's not the most interesting thing that I've changed. The most interesting thing that I've changed actually has to do with public transport and roads and things like that. Because what I decided to do was go to the Steam Workshop and grab a bunch of new buses. And you can see one of them there. we now have some double-decker buses that can carry 90 people. And I've basically gone to each of my bus lines and I've redone almost all of them. So all of the bus lines have different types of buses. We have another type of bus here, another Volvo. It's a hybrid. It can carry 70 people. And essentially, I've just decided that I want more capacity on my buses because the ones that we had just weren't doing a good enough job. And I know that's a little weird. I was saying I didn't want to use too many assets in this series, but as it goes on, again, the whole series is just about playing Cities Skylines, and I feel like for a lot of us on PC at the very least, playing Cities Skylines involves having a problem, going to the Steam Workshop, and finding a solution to that problem. So I think getting those buses was a fair idea. And something that I did was we have this line right here, which is this kind of brown color, which obviously isn't very pleasant looking, but the buses on that line, if we have a little look here, if I can go to one of them, that is. I'm not sure if I actually can. There we go. So the buses in the line actually appear more sort of goldy yellow than otherwise. But this line is incredibly busy. It is a super, super busy line. There's only 2 stops on it. But this one here in the city currently has... oh, Lord knows how many people are currently waiting here. 483. Whereas this stop in the little town has 91 in the minute. Actually, sorry, I think 129. Regardless, I did decide to upgrade the buses. We have some the Citaros here. We have a Mercedes e-Citaro. It's articulated there. So we have different buses for different purposes, and I have put different buses on different lines to serve different purposes. Now, coming over to the little town here and coming over to this bus station was not accidental at all. That was intentional. That was a seamless segue is what it was, until I drew attention to it, of course. You might notice this looks a little bit different, and it absolutely does. I turned the bus station around because what was happening was we just had tremendous amounts of traffic in and around this little high street here, which, by the way, I've turned into this type of road, which is, let's see if I can find it just in here. It's this, or rather, I think that's a one-way version, so it's this one. It's the amusement park road one way. It's essentially a mod that takes the park roads and makes them things that can be driven on. The one-way versions have traffic on one side and pedestrians in the other. This is a two-way version where traffic and pedestrians kind of share the road, but the speed is super low, and I thought it looked amazing for the high street here. So I thought that was kind of cool. And also, you know, from here, this view right here, I absolutely adore. That is so, so beautiful with the lights and the buildings. It really looks, I think I've talked about it before when I was in Stockholm a couple of years ago. There are buildings just like this. I think there's a picture that I took on my Instagram, probably. I will try and remember to put it in the video description. But there's a picture that just these buildings are identical to some that are in the middle of Stockholm. So this is so cool. That is such a cool view. But I decided to turn the bus station around, and I haven't fully detailed the area around it yet. That's something that I'll get to. But in doing this, I lowered the trouble with traffic a little bit. But another step to dealing with the traffic problems was putting these different buses in here, because these articulated ones can carry 110 people. And you might think to yourself, well, why aren't the articulated buses on the line that goes from the town to the city? I don't think that makes too much sense. I think a double-decker coach type bus going back and forth from one to the other makes a lot more sense, even if it carries less people. And what I've done with almost all of these lines is I have gone in and managed the number of buses on each one. So the number 6 line, which I probably want to rename all of these at some point, but the number 6 line has 18 buses, and that's a very deliberate number because 18 is about the sweet spot for where people are getting moved around between them. Although with that said, that whole idea is based on the numbers that I see in here. So we have 69 people waiting in the city right now, and we've got 99 waiting over here. And if we have a little look in here, we can see, you know, there's a bus there that's not full. There's a bus there that's not full. I think there's a bus in here that's also not full. Is it that one? I don't know. Regardless, the buses aren't necessarily filling up anymore. With that said, I reckon adding one more vehicle to that line, so going up to 19, might not be a terrible idea. So we'll give that a little shot and see what happens. But that's the thing that I've been doing to deal with a lot of the traffic problems that we were having in this town. Traffic around this square, this roundabout, was backing up like crazy. So rotating the bus station and taking the roads for it off of here was one way that problem was solved. Another way that problem was solved was getting the new buses from the Steam Workshop and replacing the base game ones and micromanaging how many buses were needed on each line. And another way that the problem was dealt with was by doing this, was by adding in a new bridge that goes from this roundabout directly over into towards the high street and the little town hall and all of this. Now, this is something I was a little bit reluctant to do, and this is something that the live stream chat was quite adamant that I should do because they'd watched me suffering with traffic for about 3 hours at this point. And I decided, you know what, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a try, we'll see what happens, and it worked. It worked like a charm, especially when coupled with an old town policy. So now we don't have anybody coming in here that shouldn't be coming in here, which is kind of fantastic. Now, I do reckon we could probably change that a little bit. We could probably take an old town policy off of, you know, this square, for example. But in doing that, what we've created is a space where this bridge is only used by people going towards the high street. And it is a relatively busy area. It has absolutely a relatively busy area. So, I think that's good. It dealt with a lot of the traffic problems around this roundabout. It dealt with them around this roundabout. It has ever so slightly pushed them to this one from time to time, but it's not terrible, it's not awful, and my traffic flow is at 81%, which, you know, could be a little bit better. 82%, that is a little bit better. It was down in sort of the mid to low 70s when things were really bad with these roundabouts. Now, obviously, they're still very red and they do have their problems at times, but for the most part, traffic isn't really, it's not terrible. It's not as bad as some of my cities have been, and I know what you're thinking. You're probably sitting there thinking, well, you've only got 20,000 people. That's different for me. That to be fair, if you go back and look at some of my other cities series, usually by this point I'm sitting at like 50,000 people. You know, 10 or 11 episodes in, usually we've kind of done everything. This has just been about playing the game and deciding what to do on the fly. So with that in mind, I think that about covers everything that I've changed for the most part. We obviously have some changes to the metro system and whatnot. Obviously, it now comes out to here and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's something that I covered in the last episode. It's been a little minute, so I guess we can cover it very briefly here. The metro now goes from this corner over to here on that lower line, and then goes out to the industrial area, and that is the red line, the one that looks a bit like the DLR in London. I absolutely adore it. And then over this way we have the orange and the purpley pink line that goes, you know, they loop around everything here. So we have 3 metro lines instead of just the one kind of going about everything, and I think that's fine. They're relatively busy. Not tremendously so, but relatively busy, and that's kind of okay by me. Now, something that I have wanted to do, and something I did go and grab some assets for off of the Steam Workshop, is I want to get a central station. And you might look at this one and think, good lord, that's massive. And it absolutely is. That's a very cool looking central station, though, to be fair. I think I have got some other ones, though. I've got, yeah, European Main Station right here, which is also pretty cool looking because it has some elevated tracks that go straight through, and then the 4 in the middle are terminus tracks and whatnot. So this is pretty cool looking, to be totally honest. This is something I could get behind. It looks like it has some metro platforms underneath as well. We've got the glass terminus station that I could play with. Basically, what I want to do is I want to add a train station over here. So I want to go in and I want to take out some of these buildings. In fact, let's see. Let's take out those ones. Let's take out you. Let's take out these paths. And let's go in and take out these trees as well, because I don't think we're going to be, I don't think we're really going to be needing them. So the brush size can be that. We'll just go in and take out these guys up to about there. And that should be fine. Now, what I reckon we could do is I reckon we bring a road off of here. So we bring the road up to about that spot. And we'll go 6. And we'll go from this side as well. And that right there. Let's see. I think that's about 6 right there. So we'll do that. And then I want to turn that into a different type of road. And I think what I'm going to do is turn it into a campus park road, because I think it just looks kind of interesting. And we're going to put our train station on this. So that kind of means that these buildings as well need to go. But out here, the only thing I'm really interested in is a little normal regional train station. It doesn't need to be anything huge, nothing too crazy, nothing fancy, just something a little bit like this. We obviously don't want to put this out here. It would be a little bit ridiculous. And these, I think, are from the Metro Overhaul mod, so I'm not too interested in that. That's obviously huge as well. So just a normal little train station. I might go to the workshop at some point and get myself a more regional looking train station. But that right there is fine by me. And what we can do with this is essentially go in and say that all of this zoning here, we can get rid of it because we're not going to be using it. And essentially what I want to do with this is I want to bring a train line that goes from here, and it's going to go across this road. It's going to have to. I don't want to elevate it. I think that would look stupid. And it's going to cut through these houses, which is maybe a little bit weird as well. But my plan here is to bring this up quite a bit and bring it a little bit maybe further. I'm going to have to get rid of some. You know what? We're going to have to get rid of a lot of these trees. So I'll show you what my path is that I want to take with this. I want to go through here. And then I want to come down here. And I want to go through here. And I want to go straight through there. And I want to go straight over here. And I'm going to have it sort of connect to that line there. So you can sort of see the path that I want to take with this train line. It's going to be a little bit windy is what it's going to be. But I think it's going to be good. And I think what it's going to do is give us a little bit of train access for the town from the region. And we're going to take it in the other direction as well. We're probably going to take it underground at some point and bring it back out over here. But it's going to connect over this way. And then that'll branch off this way. And we'll probably maybe put a regional station here. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to try and have it go to a main train station somewhere. And it's going to be a massive station in the city. So we're going to have a couple of different ways to use public transport to get back and forth from this town to the city. And I think that's kind of important. Now, let's go ahead and let's do this. In fact, let's go to about there. And then let's go and do... Now, this is going to need to go like that, I reckon. So it's going to have to go that way. So let's give it... That's a 45-degree angle there. And that's 45 there. So that's going to cut straight across that road. We're going to need to take out these paths. And essentially what I want to do is we use the end of that road as a bit of a marker. So I reckon about there. And I'm not too sure if this is going to play nicely with me or not, but that looks all right. Essentially, this needs to come around. And that's very steep looking, so maybe we go even further back. Take these guys out, bring you down there, and do that with it. I reckon that's not too bad. It'll slow the train down a little bit, but we're not playing Transport Fever, so it's probably all right. I don't need to worry too much about curves slowing the trains down. And I guess, to be fair, the trains would probably be going very, very slow in this kind of area anyway. Now, let's see what we can do. Let's bring this out. And let's see. So, right about there, I reckon. That looks pretty good. It's a 12 by 13, so it's going to curve down there and across. And then this is going to be... what is that? 7 by 10? Okay. Maybe what we do is bring this line just back a little bit. And that might give us a little bit more of an even curve there. That's not too bad. Let's see, what about there? So 9 by 10. It gets very close to that road, though, which I'm not a huge fan of. So let's take out some of that road. I really don't want to get in too close to the road. So that's 10 by 10. That's perfect. So that kind of cuts through everything exactly the way I want it to. I think what I'm also going to probably do here is go in and let's see here. Let me grab this kind of road. Let me bring this road over here. Right. So we're gonna bring that over so we can get some houses in there. Let's actually just demolish a bunch of this for a second. So bring that to there. And for some reason that, okay, you know what? We're going to do this again. We're not going to have weird looking roads. So let's do this and this so we can get some zoning there. And let's take out that back line of zoning and do this. So that way I can put some fences alongside the tracks so that people's houses aren't, you know, right against them. So same over here. And we'll just, I reckon just take out these houses completely. Maybe get rid of that road. And do that. You guys are fine. I think what we could do is... yeah, I reckon what we do here is we'll do another sort of straight shot of track behind these houses. We'll have that come over to, well, maybe there. Could we elevate it? Could we sink it? I don't think we could. I think it's going to have to cut across that road as well. Okay. So this can come straight over. And maybe it doesn't need to go along the back of the houses. It really might not need to do that. So that's the intersecting point right there. Okay, maybe what we can do... now, for some reason, that's not wanting to snap to the angle there. There we go. So let's have grid and angle snapping. So bring that out. Something a bit like that, I reckon. So that comes out kind of nicely. And at this point, we can kind of just freeform it. So something a bit like that, except space is already occupied. Of course it is. So yeah, just something a bit like this that comes straight over through that entire area. So, to about there. And, I don't like the way it's doing the slopes, but we can deal with that later. Bring it straight over, and we'll just take it out to connect up over here. Okay, so that is all connected, and I think it looks decent. We'll put the trees back in a little bit later. These power lines I don't think are even needed anymore, so we're going to take those out since, yeah, we got a little bit of a connection down there. That's... you know what? I think we might just do this, just to make sure that stays connected. But that'll be our train line kind of cutting through there, which I actually really like. Over this way is going to be tricky because looking at it, I could try and bring the train line down and underneath the bridge, which actually might not be a terrible idea. It's going to be weird looking, I think, but I think that's what I'm going to try and do. So let's get the tree brush and let's take these guys out as well. Take all of these guys out and just free up some space so I can see what I'm working with. Because these paths are going to need to go since they're not actually connected to anything right now. And essentially, this train is going to need to come out a bit. Now we'll bring it up to about there. And we're going to need to kind of curve it this way and then under the bridge to about there. And then I think what we'll do is use move it to grab all of these nodes and set up the best kind of slope that we can and see if it actually works. So slope the objects. You know what? I reckon that just about does. Yes, the cables are going through the bridge there, but I don't think that's the end of the world. We could, if we really wanted to, raise the bridge a little bit. Or we could, honestly, probably get away with just lowering you slightly. Just ever so slightly to about there, I think is fine. So that is not too bad. The only issue is that maybe this guy here should be the same height as that. So we can do some kind of little bridge here. Because that's going to be the tricky part. So let's keep this as a bridge. And let's just bring it straight to about... Let's see what I can get away with. I reckon about there. And then we'll turn it into ground-based again and bring it down to 0. Obviously keeping a nice straight slope. And there. Wait, why is that still... Oh, hold on a minute. I know what I did. Keep you on the ground and turn you into that. Oh, no. On the ground and turn you into that. There we go. So that's fine. I still have prop and tree anarchy on, which is really bugging me. But we'll go in and take those trees out. And we'll go ahead and... that's maybe a little bit of a steep kind of bend there, but I'll allow it. Let's just go ahead and level this entire bridge to that height. So that side's now a little bit higher. And what we can do is I think I'm gonna connect it over here. One way or other, I'm gonna connect it over here. So let's go ahead and change this connection here. So that's gonna come right out. What we're gonna do is grab some train line, and we're gonna say that I want to go from here to there, and from there to there. And that can come straight out, and that's going to connect obviously to the one on the left. We'll take out these guys, and we'll do... I don't really want to do it as a... Well, I guess we can do that. So we'll connect it straight over, a bit of a weird angle, but I can just go ahead and grab the segments with move it, and kind of curve it like this. So that's fine by me. And now this section here is just going to go straight over, and looking at it, we could probably turn it into a bridge of some sort. So let's bring it to about there. Let's turn it into an elevated section. And let's bring it to about there is probably fine. Now what I want to do is grab all of those nodes and then deselect the highway, obviously, because we're not really doing anything with that. And the entire thing is going to be elevated to the height of that first node. So that's pretty good. That, I think, works. The question is, how the hell do we go from here up to there? That's going to be the tricky part, because this is where it could get really strange looking. Now, that's 20 by 29. Okay. Maybe this side should start lowering itself. I don't really know. I reckon maybe bring this forward by about 9. And then what we'll do is go from here. We'll do our curve, and then we'll just do a slope the entire way. So that's 20 by 21. That's fine. That's a little strange looking, but I think we can fix that by just grabbing just all of this, essentially. So grab all of you, grab you, and then slope. And I'm not a huge fan of that. So maybe what we do is grab this one as well and slope it. And that actually a little bit better. Definitely needs a little bit of work, but that's more acceptable, I think. So that now connects straight over and goes to there. So now we have the means to have passenger trains coming in from the region, which I think is kind of fantastic. And obviously, you know, this looks a little bit weird here, but I kind of like the fact that everything's a little weird. I like that everything's a little, I don't want to use the word dynamic because I'm going to sound like I'm talking myself up and like it's an awful E3 presentation, you know? Well, I think you'll find that my train designs are incredibly dynamic compared to what I've done in the past. I don't think the word dynamic needs to be thrown around at all here. But I am going to do this, which is very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. But the idea of these dirt paths back here, to me at least, is that they are you know, they're not trails that have been laid out by the city or the town. These dirt paths, to me at the very least, are, you know, people just walking through the forest and deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna walk here. So, yeah, that's safe, I'm sure. I'm sure that's not gonna cause any problems. You know, people walking across the train tracks and whatnot. No problems at all. So they can walk around there. We get some paths over here that need to be put back in. That's going to be fun. So let's do this to there. Let's do this one that can kind of just come across something like that. And let's do one from down here that can kind of branch up and around a little bit like this. That looks ridiculous, but I love it. What about over here? I don't know if we had anything in that way. I guess it's just trees at this point, so I don't remember what the tree brush... Hold on, I do have a mod for this. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. Tree LOD fix. Maybe it isn't. Oh, forest brush. There it is. What's the Alt B? All right, so Alt B. And I should be able to... I have no idea if I can actually do this. Maybe not. Okay, conifer... Am I no, I'm not. It's that so I do have conifer okay. Let's see what happens then if okay, I don't want to type anymore. So if I just do this. Ooh. All right, so that's actually just filling in oh, that's beautiful. Okay, that is perfect. So that's filling in the space exactly the way I would want it to. So we're just going to have trees really nicely along this train line. And that is absolutely perfect. That's exactly what I want. Because to me, I mean, I've said it before, trees are, I mean, they are a natural sound barrier. So for all these houses and whatnot, having a really dense bunch of trees in there would be kind of important to getting rid of the sound of the trains. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I really, really like that a lot. Down here, we can kind of just tippity-tap around a little bit to replace the trees that I got rid of. We'll do a little something down here too. Just like that. And maybe a little something just there and there. And, you know, I don't think you'd be any the wiser. I mean, obviously, we want to do some detailing back here, which, you know, looking at it, I reckon we can have some fun. So let's go ahead and do... Let's see here. Let me, there's a lot of people coming off those trains right now. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that, but, well, all right, I guess. Let's bring this over to here. And let's bring this over to, let's see. Do we want to go that way with it? I don't think we do. Let's bring it that way, though, because what I can do, and what I think would probably make sense, is taking out these residential buildings just completely. So they're all gone. These trees can kind of go as well. And we can get a better look at what's going on here. So let's change this up a little bit. Let's do some offices. Do we want to do offices? Let's do, yeah, I don't know. Let's do some offices like this. Let's do some offices like this. And like this. And then I reckon do some commercial buildings like this. That way, yes, they're smaller commercial buildings, but that way what we end up with is, you know, a nice divide. So we're going to have buildings on this street rather than kind of, you know, weirdly at the corners and all that. So I think that's fine. I think we can make that work. This space, I reckon we can probably turn into a parking lot or something. I don't know. I don't know what that can be. But we'll kind of fill up that space and make sure it is roughly inside of the district. So we should be okay there with the style of buildings. And I think that is gonna look pretty cool, honestly. So I'm excited to see that build up. I do think that we might end up seeing a lot of people. I mean, this, I imagine, is going to be quite busy. But yeah, I don't absolutely hate that. which, by the way, I've had a bunch of people saying that I should put the phrase, I don't hate that, on a t-shirt. And I did. So, I don't hate that is now on a t-shirt that you can get on the store. It's not a, I'll be honest with you, it's not a tremendously complicated design on the shirt. It's just something simple that I would personally wear if I was to own it, which, you know, I've got my own on the way. So, you know, if that takes your interest, there's always a link in the video description that'll take you to the store. You can get yourself an I don't hate it t-shirt if you so desire. It is entirely up to you. But if you do, let me know at ConflictNerd on Twitter, because I would be I would love to see it. Is what I would do. Now, let's go ahead and put a parking lot right in there, because I think that would kind of make sense. And let's see if I have any parking lots I can put at the end of this thing, because I'm pretty sure somewhere, somehow, I do have that right there. Some narrow parking lots, which actually looks pretty terrible, so we're not going to do that. Let's just move this one. So buildings, I want to move it to about there. In fact, I could probably just move it actually to there. And then beside it, I've got one of these guys. So just do that. And I know it's a very different type of parking lot. You know, it's a bit different looking, but from far away, it doesn't look too bad. And I think with some details and some trees around it, I don't think it's going to be terrible. And honestly, we could probably get one in here as well. So something like that, and just move it to about here, which I kind of like. So something like that. Okay, so that gives us some filler for that space. I think what we could do is maybe go and grab some trees. So we'll grab these guys and just sort of throw them over here. So something like that and something like that. Just as a temporary way to kind of make that look a little bit more intentional. But look at all of these people. Look at all of these people. There's so many of them. And it's a problem because there's too many of them. There's way too many of them. So I kind of need to figure out a way to... Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of passengers coming in. I need to figure out a way to make this work a little bit better, because it's starting to cause some traffic problems again, because obviously they're wanting to go somewhere. So I guess what we got to figure out is, what am I going to do for a station over here in the city? Because right now it connects out this way and it goes over to here, and I'm going to have to, you know, connect these two sections of track. But in doing that, where am I then going to put the major station? And what kind of major station are we going to use? I guess what we'll do is, let's see, is this area nice and flat? Yeah, this area is lovely and flat. So let's place the two major stations and see what they actually look like when I'm not just sort of previewing them. So let's do this. We'll do a nice section of 10 units there. And we have this thing, which is Central Station from Berlin, apparently. So it looks like that. Which, honestly, the level of detail on that is absolutely incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Now we have 8 platforms, 4 sets of tracks coming in, elevated there. We've got the same, obviously, on the other side. Underneath this, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if that's metro or train tracks down there. It is, I'm assuming metro, and I'm assuming that's metro as well. So that could be very useful, because we do have some metro lines. Yeah, it is metro. We do have some metro lines in the main city over there. So we could do a huge, very, oh, that level of detail though, that's interesting. Very modern looking train station. And then surround it with various buildings and whatnot, if we wanted to. The alternative, I suppose, is going to be, let's see here. We'll do this. We'll just go ahead and bulldoze you and you. The alternative to that, how much was that? That was 1.5 million. Interesting. It's also very expensive per week. I didn't really look at the price of that. But that's fine. This is 500,000, 4,000 per week. Now, the thing I like about this one is it has the same. It has the 4 sets of tracks that go straight through, and they are, again, elevated, which I think is cool. That's going to give me a lot of room to play with, you know, continuing the trains straight through. And it's got these various buildings, these, you know, signs and stuff along the side. So this could be surrounded by roads, and it could look like a proper main station, right, with shops and stuff on the sides. But at the far end of it, it also has these 4, you know, terminal tracks. So this is really cool. I like this station a lot, and you know, looking at it, I think it's going to be the one that we use. I don't think I have any others. So yeah, I think that's going to be the one that we use. It's just a case of where can I put it? And I reckon over here could be an interesting spot for it. I just don't know where those tracks are going to go. The ones that are going through. I really don't know where they would go. So I figure that's something we'll need to figure out. But this guy is going to be the one that I think we go for in and around the main city. So, I guess at this point, we have this up and running, even if it is super, super busy, ridiculously so. This is at least up and running. It's actually a pretty cool looking street, to be honest, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it into this guy, because I think it's just going to look better. So let's do that. Let's do the amusement park street, because I just love it. I really do. I love the sort of the cobbled look. I love how it looks with the European buildings around. I just think it looks fantastic. That is so many people. Are they all? They are all going to the bus station as well. That is actually fantastic, but what it's done is created so much more demand at each of these. Look at this. There's 480 people waiting for that line. That's kind of nuts. I guess that'll probably go down, though, once we get a train line set up over here, so yeah, I figure that's what we're going to have to do. And you know what? I'd almost be tempted. Ooh, I might have an idea. Okay, I was going to wrap up this episode, but I'm going to do one little thing here. I want to grab some nodes. I want to grab this one, I want to grab this one, and I want to grab that one. And I want to grab that one, and that one, and that one. And I'm going to go ahead and raise them all to that height. Now that's pretty extreme. So what I think we'll do at this point, a little bit of a hill in there, it's not too bad. Let's grab these guys and slope that. So that's going to be a slope from one to the other. But what I'm thinking we can do is we can go ahead, we can do some pretty serious terrain editing here, which I know I said I wasn't going to do, but I think if we do this, right, so bring that terrain right out to here, which is a pretty serious change, but we'll do it anyway. We'll take the trees out of there because we don't really need them right now. I think what I could do is I could go ahead and bring this kind of road out. And I want to keep on, at ground level. So out to about there, bring it over to about there, and bring it into about there. And obviously, level the whole thing because it looks a little bit silly right now. So down to that height. So we do that, right? We grab this station, not that one. We grab this one, and it goes right there. Oh my God, it's even bigger than, wow. Okay, never mind. That would cover the river. Right. So what that means is I need to go in and take out a fair bit of this space. All right, well, I'm going to do that. I know where I want to put this station. So take out pretty much everything in here, I guess. That's kind of extreme, but yeah, bye-bye to all of that. Do we have a metro line in there? We don't have one, so that's fine. So all of that can go away. This can go away as well. All of these buildings, bye-bye. All of these roads, bye-bye. And, oh boy. Oh boy. What am I doing? All right. So what I think we do, we bring this little road off of here. And we bring it up to here. And we bring it over. And that's going to give us a nice little buffer, I think. Because this thing it's enormous. It's absolutely enormous. Now, if I were to do this slightly differently, if I was to do that might actually work even better. And I think this is all going to have to be, you know, the slopes are going to have to be figured out. So for example, that goes to that height and you go to, you know, the same height there. These nodes need to be sloped. Honestly, the whole thing needs to be flat, actually. So I think what we need to do, actually, is grab all of these nodes right about there and somehow level them to that height. Which I think I actually just did. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's do a little bit of terrain flattening then. So, everything to that height, which it now is. Let's take out this road. And let's put our train station. Ooh, it isn't actually going to work exactly the way I would want it to. Which is unfortunate. It won't fit perfectly central, but I think that's okay. Because what I can do is I can obviously just grab the building and sort of shuffle it over a little bit and move it down to about there. And that is roughly exactly where I would want that to be. We got parking lots right along the sides. We got a road right along the front. I think what we could probably do is take, you know, these guys out and kind of open up that space a little bit. Ooh. You know, I think this might actually need to be lowered looking at it. So you, and you need to go back down to that height there. And you need to do that as well. So down to about that height there. And I think that's fine. I think we're going to have to accept the fact that this is going to have a little bit of weird terrain around it. But I can probably use that to my advantage and make it look, you know, like it's part of the design or something. So grab those guys and slope. And honestly, that's kind of interesting next to everything we have going on in here. The only thing is, these train lines up here are never going to go over the top of that train station, or the bus and metro station, so we'll figure that out. These train lines here, honestly, probably will come straight out and through here at some point, so that's fine. And I guess, in terms of roads and whatnot, I don't really know how I would go about reconnecting this road at the minute, so I'm not going to bother. But what I will do is I am going to smooth this again. So this is going to be smoothed right back like that. And if anything, actually, let's flatten it down a bit and then hit it with a smoothing brush just so it's a bit more interesting, I guess. Which I think I actually just completely undid, so that's fantastic. But there we go. So that's fine. And basically, let's just connect it straight out. So let's put the train lines in before we wrap things up. And just like that, we have a train line that's coming in here. It's gonna be picking people up, and then it's setting off. Obviously, I've got the game a little bit sped up there, but it's setting off. It's heading back through everything. It's heading around, and it's gonna split off this way. It's gonna crash with a cargo train, which is interesting. But comes around, and you can see the station off in the distance there. It merges over, merges out again. Little bit of a rough, you know, transition to this new track, but it comes over, and well, you can see yourself, there's quite a few people waiting for that train in there. There's quite a few people waiting in there, so no complaints from me. It's up and working, which I think is fantastic. And then as it sets off, it's got 165 people on board, that's a lot. That's a lot of people on board that train. Now, having a look, we've also got a lot of people that have gotten off that train and are, coming around and doing their thing. So I think what we might need to do here is we might need to go in and just get a couple of little pedestrian paths around here. So I think what we'll do is I'm just going to use these normal sort of pavement ones, because if I don't use those, it's going to look very confusing. So we'll do something like that. Maybe this one can go in the opposite direction so that the lights are on the other side of it. So something a bit like that should be fine. Those lights are almost in the same spot, so move you down to there. That'll let people get back and forth from the station to down here, and that'll let them sort of immediately go out and do their thing. Now, the thing is that we now have some metro stations very, very close to each other, which almost invalidates the point of having, this whole bus metro hub here. So we might need to figure out what we're doing with this. I'm not too sure if we'll ever actually use the metro stations on there, but that's a pretty cool looking building, if I do say so myself. It's a pretty cool looking building. It's pretty busy. It's got a good number of people coming and going. We've got how many people on this train? 112. So pretty busy train line with a lot of people coming and going, like I said. So no complaints from me, other than what it's maybe going to do for traffic in and around here, but we'll see, how that goes. Either way, I think that's a pretty cool addition to the area. I think we are going to want to go in and probably do something about getting a replacement for all of the buildings that we took out of there. And I think, to be totally honest, I'm going to try and find a way to bring this road kind of around and, well, you know what? Let's try and do that right now. I know I keep saying we're going to, we're getting close to wrapping things up, but I want to see if I can maybe do something here. So bring that road to there. Actually, no, let's bring that road, bring it forward without using guidelines. So bring it to there, and let's bring it to there. And then I can bring it straight underneath, which is obviously, it's a little bit weird looking, but we can bring that terrain up, actually. I don't think that terrain needs to be anywhere near as low as I've got it there. So let's go ahead and grab all of these guys, and let's level it to this height, and let's just bring it up to about there. I think it's pretty good. And there we go. We've got vehicles able to go around this all again, even if this is a bit of a weird sort of little bend going on there. I've also got some zoning over here. So we have a bunch of commercial buildings kind of alongside this whole thing, with room for a little path to come down behind them, which I think is kind of important. And yeah, I've even zoned down here, even though we know at some point some train lines are going to come through there. Either way, I mean, this kind of gives us the look as though this station is a little bit more integrated into the city than it was just 5 minutes ago. So this is pretty cool looking as far as I'm concerned. It's nicely surrounding it. It's still quite visible from this end, which I think is important, because I think for the most part, the idea I want is oh yeah, did I mention that I decorated this roundabout? I don't know. The idea is you come in here, and I like this view. I like that. I don't like that building, but well, you get the idea. You got these old looking buildings, very modern looking sort of bus transfer thing, old looking train station. I hate the fact that there's these modern buildings. What the hell is going on with that? That's annoying me. What's going on with Spring Hills? It's got an old town policy. Should it have an old town policy? It doesn't. Oh, it does look like it would need one, actually. Yeah, looking at it, it probably would. Otherwise, traffic's going to go through here to get down that way. Well, we'll ignore those very modern-looking buildings. We'll just get rid of them. We'll ignore that they were even there. The idea is you come through and you got this beautiful view of, the government and the trains and just everything going on in here. I absolutely love. And then at some point back here, I think is going to be a very modern-looking IT hub kind of area. So that'll be pretty cool. And just all of this is kind of coming together. It's actually wound up, this has just wound up being so much busier than I thought it was going to be. That train is actually really close to being full there, which is kind of nuts. Obviously, get all of these people coming out here. Quite a few of them going into towards the government buildings and whatnot. Quite a few of them coming over this way too. So all in all, just a lot of people doing a lot of moving around, and that's pretty cool to see. Over this way, I imagine, yeah, things are doing all right. There's still a ridiculous number of people coming out of the train stations, but it looks like most of them are just going to the buses. So that's not so bad. It does look like this line here might need a few more people though. So I think it's this line. What are you? It's stop one, line 13. Yeah, so line 13 I think maybe needs a few more buses. Although the buses are generally only, well, is that one? That one's full at the minute. Let's add 2 more vehicles and bring that up to 10 of the Sataros there and see how that does. And then we should be all right. These Gold Line coaches are coming in and doing all right. That one's actually empty right now, which is kind of surprising. But it does near enough fill up as it comes in. This one here is also actually empty. I wonder if the train line has... I think that train line has probably taken away quite a few passengers from the Gold Line coaches there. But that's all right. I'm not really too worried about that. If I'm completely honest, I don't think it's the end of the world. We might just have to bring down the number of buses on that line, but for the time being, there's no, it's no big deal as far as I'm concerned. So we'll not really stress about it. Are you going to my stop, or are you going straight through? You are, and you had a decent number of passengers there. Good lord, this is super busy. How many people just got off of there? Oh wow. Yeah, there it is again. All the cars coming out. We might need to look into letting them go elsewhere. Are they in, or are they in the district? They are in the district. So technically they could use that bridge if they wanted to. But it doesn't seem like they want to do that, so I can't really make them do it. We'll not worry too much about it, I suppose, but we'll just extend the district a little bit back to there. And yeah, I think that's solid. I think that's a pretty good infrastructure change to Nerdköping. I think I'm kind of looking forward to doing a little bit more with the trains. I'm looking forward to expanding the city just a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of nonsense I can cause with this giant station here. So we'll see how that goes. Either way, we have a lot of residential demand. So I think next time what we'll do, which will probably be on a live stream, is we'll look at maybe filling up this kind of space just in here. I think that would be a pretty good idea. And we'll look at maybe doing the sort of IT cluster down here as well. This is going to be... yeah, maybe not. I don't know. This might actually be an old town kind of space as well, to be totally honest. I think it would be good to have a fair bit more of that old town style out here. So maybe that does go right up to the water. And then my IT cluster could be... oh, I don't know. Over here, I guess. Or here. Either way, I want an IT cluster. You know what? Yeah, I think an IT cluster here would be a really good idea, because that's going to give me the view that I want, where you look over this beautiful station and you're going to see, you know, skyscrapers and things in the distance. So I think that'll be pretty cool. That's going to be the plan. So, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. It's been my absolute pleasure as always. As I mentioned, the next episode of this series will probably be broadcast over on twitch.tv/ConflictNerd, and shortly after, uploaded to the YouTube channel. So if you want to catch that live, head to the link in the video description. You can hit follow. It's completely free, and I'll let you know when the live stream is in fact going live. And also at ConflictNerd on Twitter for updates on things like streams as well. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.